With the loan portfolio management process of LoanAnalytics, you would take and query from your core system, your core accounting system, into the LoanAnalytics data extracts. Typically, monthly data extracts are ran and stored on your server. You may want to use them to look at migrations of the data or trend the risk and return of your data. So the first thing you need to do is create an extract, and those who are currently using LoanAnalytics have those extracts. But the beginning is to identify the data, create the data extract, and then run those queries on a monthly basis. The data extracts are then stored on your server. The value is contained in the data, not in the LoanAnalytics applications. The value of the applications is contingent upon the quality of the data that you extract out of your system into the LoanAnalytics data extracts, which are stored in your server and imported into the applications. And then you produce your reports outside of the applications, the information you need. The data extracts are stored in Excel workbooks. So when you query your data out of your core system, they're queried into Excel workbooks. The applications are written in Microsoft Office Excel with Visual Basic programming to process and compile the reporting information. The LoanAnalytics extracts are imported into a suite of applications, Excel workbooks, looking at LA risk, LA return, looking at the risk and return, LA migrate, looking at historical migrations, and LA stress, looking at the different stress scenarios. Under LA risk, there is risk 1, risk 2, and then LA risk 3, which we're going to go over and look at that application today. And then the LA capital application, and looking at the risk as it pertains to your need to hold capital from an economic capital standpoint, looking at operational, market, and credit risk. Under the LA stress, there's a number of applications looking at stressing both probability of default ratings and loss given default ratings, and then the two applications, the LA stress STA and the LA simulate STA, is used to compile the 3-year comprehensive stress test analysis. The setup application is used to hold or store the parameters, your query definitions, your PD and LGD scorecards, and they're imported into the applications, kind of like a library of your data or your parameters that go into the applications. During this training session, we're going to look at the LA data extract process. We're going to look at the LA setup application, and then we're going to look at one of the applications, the LA risk 3, just look at how the functionality of that application, and then the reporting functionality of it and reports that can be produced. I'm now going to go to the extract manual, data extract rules. Within this PDF, there is the extract rules, and it talks about and defines each of the data elements. The data extract must follow the rules, the extract rules, because the applications were written based upon the extract rules. So when it looks at PD risk, that PD rating must be in a specific column in your extract. So it's very you need to make sure that the extract rules are followed. If we find that you have a problem with using one of the applications, typically it has to do with either data formatting or the data in the wrong column of the extract. As I stated, the data is stored in Excel workbooks, and when you extract it out, you need to make sure that the header column is in the extract. The names within the header columns are imported into the application. So what you call industry in column J, that name is brought into the application. So when you're looking at your different segments, your naming convention is used in the application. So you must have the header row in the Excel workbook. There must not be a line or a row, let's say, in between the header and the first data points. The data must be starting in row 2. You may want to look at, and I'm going to format the total cells. In some cases I've seen where this text wrap is on the format. If this is on it, it's going to slow down the import process, so you may want to look at, or you're querying it out, that none of the text is wrapped. I'm now going to go into the setup application, and we'll look at the library or the housing of the parameters within the LoanAnalytics setup application. Let's say you're using this LoanAnalytics for the first time. What you're going to want to do is set up, put the parameters in the setup application, and the first thing you want to do is import a data extract into it, because what we're going to do is get those query header names, and we're going to import the data codes, all the codes, let's say, of your industry codes or your loan type codes. So I'll click LoanAnalytics Extract. It'll say Open and select Data Extract to import. I'll just find my data extract, double click on it, and I'm going to import it in. So I brought in all my query names and my data codes. I'm going to go to the main screen and go to Setup. There's a number of queries that need to be set up. I'm going to just go through a few of them. I'm going to click on Queries. These select segment names, these were imported from the header row of the data extract. So whatever naming convention you use when you extract the data out, that same naming convention is used in the applications. You'd enter in, let's say for industry, you'd enter in your industry names, and I'll go over to the industry code, and all the codes that you have in your extract will be brought in. So you can use the drop down. You just need to know that the codes have a specific name, or what name is assigned to a code. You enter those in. As with all the LoanAnalytics products, you can group, and in this case we could group industry code 116 with 115 by assigning a group number. If I put a 2 there, it's going to assign group 116 with 211. So you set up all the parameters for the applications in the setup application. We have a number of queries. These are used for the different applications. Say query 2, it's used for the LA cost and LA risk 3. If I go to query 3, this query is for looking at segmenting your industries, and these queries used for the stress tests or stressing applications. You enter your PD, probability default ratings and percents in the setup, LGD risk, you enter your LGD percents, and then you also enter your scorecards, your objective probability default scorecards in the setup, along with your LGD scorecards. So let's say you started using LoanAnalytics. The first thing you want to do is enter all your parameter data and setup information in the setup application, and once you do that, you're able to push it out to all the other applications. So what we're going to do here is we're going to export it out to the risk 3. So all I need to do is click on LA risk 3, and it'll say select and open it, and I'm going to find my risk 3 and just double click on it, and what it's going to do, it's going to open it up and copy all my parameter data from the setup into the risk 3, and once I do that, I can use the risk 3 application and use it for reporting. Now I'm going to go open up that risk 3 application. Okay, the risk 3 application is open. I'm going to go to and look at how the portfolio is segmented by industry and call report loan type. If I click on segment 1, I can see the different ways I can segment or stratify the portfolio. Once again, these names have been brought in from the header of your extract. I have selected industry for segment 1. Click on segment 2, and I've selected call report loan type for segment 2. Now I'm going to go to the main screen. I already have a data extract imported. I'm going to import another data extract. It says, do you want to calculate customer level returns? I'm going to say yes, and then I'll find the data extract I want to import. I'm going to import my June. It will ask me, do you want to report historical losses on the ALLL screen? I will say yes. It will ask me, do you want to report previous period PD and LGD ratings? I will say yes. We've imported our June 30th, 2013 data extract. The date shows up there. I'm going to look at the summary report. And here we're going to summarize the portfolio as of June 30th by our first segment, industry, and then we'll report it by industry loan type. We're going to report the concentration in percent volume and total volume, report PD risk, LGD risk, percent past due, percent non-accrual, and then it will report the allowance or reserves PD times LGD percent. And in this case, we're looking at an annual net interest margin. You can calculate a return on asset or return on capital. We can compare the risk, the expected loss, PD times LGD, and the income, or in this case, the net interest margin. I'm going to click on mortgage real estate loans to corn producers. Anything that's underlined in the LoanAnalytics application, there's a macro behind it. It will take you somewhere, produce a certain type of information. I'm going to click on mortgage real estate. It's going to take me to a listing of all my loans, my mortgage real estate loans to corn producers. It'll summarize it. I can sort this by, let's say, volume from Z to A. Look at my largest loans. It'll summarize the previous PD and LGD ratings, and you can compare it to the current LGD ratings. You kind of look like a migration on this report of your PDs and LGDs. If it's in green, it's improved. And let's see if I can scroll down and find one that's maybe in red. And if red shows up, it's gotten worse. It went from a 6 to a 7, a 1 to a 2. I'll go back to the summary, and I'm going to click on total customers. I want to look at all my corn producers. Click on total customers. Take me a listing of all my corn producers. I'm going to sort that by volume, Z to A. My largest customer, I can click on my, in this case it says double click customer. If I double click on that customer number, it's going to take me to those loans. So I can drill down from customer level to loan level. If I click on it again, it will take me back to the customers. I can click extract. If I click extract, what I've done is I've created a workbook with all those customers in. So I have a listing of all my corn producers and the outstanding volume plus the unfunded. I'm going to go back to the summary screen. The top is under, or the header names are underlined. I'm going to go to trend, and I'm going to click on the trend button next to my March and June dates. Go back to the summary, and these headers I can produce graphs. I click on percent volume. I'll produce a graph of my industries and concentrations. Go back to summary, and I can click total volume to look at number. I can click on PD rating and graph my PD risk by my industries that I've selected. I can print this, or I can click extract, and it says the workbook's been created containing the summary graph. I can go to that workbook, and I have that graph, and the graph is linked to the application. I can take and copy this into a PowerPoint or Word I can change the type of the graph, but you need to make sure if you do copy it, you copy it in as a object or a picture so that it will not be linked to the application. Go back to summary. I'm going to click on trend. I'm going to trend those periods again and then click on historical. I can look at the total portfolio and it'll summarize the volume, the PD ratings or risk, the distribution of your ratings, and then your LGD ratings, your not past due non-accruals, your FAS 5, your FAS 114 allowance, your net interest margin, or return on asset or return on capital. It'll trend those periods that is selected, and then it will summarize a change in those periods, the last two periods that were brought in. Go back to historical and look at my corn producers. I can view that, and now it's a summary of the same information, but now I'll be looking at my corn producer portfolio. I can also look at my loan types or my loans to my corn producers, and it will summarize my mortgage real estate loans, my IT and production loans to corn producers, agribusiness loans to corn producers. And every time you bring in a data extract, all the information is summarized down for trending. I'm going to show you how this refresh button works. We have the ability to segment the portfolio into numerous different segments. And what I want to do is I'm going to change my reporting that I have right now. Right now I'm reporting industry loan type. I'm going to change that. My segment 1, I'm going to change to my call report loan types. And I'll go to my segment 2, and I'm going to change my segment 2 to PD rating. Go back to the main screen. I'm going to report loan type, PD rating, and I'm going to refresh the data. So do you want to refresh data? Yes. And then it'll say segment 1 has been changed from industry to loan type. Select yes to refresh the data. Yes. And then it'll say segment 2 has been changed. Select yes to refresh the data. It'll prompt me, do I want to recalculate loan returns? I'm going to say no, because I'm not changing anything with the loan return. Still looking at net interest margin. Now I'm going to look at the summary by call report loan type PD rating. Click on summary, and I have my loan types and my loan types by my different ratings. We're still summarizing the same volume, PD, past due non-accrual, allowance, and net interest margin, but now I'm looking at it by loan type ratings. I can look here and see if I'm doing any risk-based pricing, because I'm comparing the risk to the return. The net interest margin should go up as the ratings go up, or net interest margin should get wider as the ratings get wider. I still have the ability to create a graph of this information. I can go to my trend screen and just click on that one period I brought in, go back to summary, and I can look at my net interest margins by ratings. I thank you for joining this training today. Hope it was of value, and please send me an email if you have any questions. Thank you.